Most people are exhausted, not because life is hard, but because they never stop chasing. Chasing approval, chasing money, chasing attention, chasing desire. And the more they chase, the weaker they become. Because chasing puts you in a permanent state of reaction. It places the world in control, and you beneath it. Here is the truth few will tell you. Power does not come from movement. It comes from stillness. The hunter who moves too fast is seen. The mind that reacts too quickly is controlled. The man who chases is predictable. But the one who can stop, who can sit in stillness while others panic, quietly takes the advantage. This video is about what happens when you stop chasing. And why, in a world addicted to motion, stillness is the rarest, and most dangerous, form of power. Most people believe they are moving forward. In reality, they are running in circles. They wake up already behind. Already reacting. Already chasing something they have not defined. Money. Status. Attention. Validation. Chasing feels like ambition, but most of the time, it is anxiety disguised as effort. Here is the uncomfortable truth. When you chase, you surrender control. The moment you pursue something compulsively, it leads you. Your emotions decide the pace. Your impulses decide the direction. And anything that can dictate your direction already owns you. Modern life is designed around this trap. Everything pushes urgency. Everything demands response. Everything screams, now, now, now. Notifications. Deadlines. Trends. Outrage. You are trained to move without thinking. To react without pausing. To chase without asking whether the pursuit is even worth it. And slowly, something critical erodes. Your center. When you chase, you leak energy. When you leak energy, you lose clarity. And when clarity is gone, discipline collapses. This is why so many people feel busy, but powerless. Active, but ineffective. Exhausted, but unfulfilled. They are moving constantly, yet arriving nowhere. Because chasing is not movement toward purpose. It is movement away from self-command. Power has never belonged to the frantic. It has never belonged to the desperate. It has never belonged to those who move simply because they are pulled. Power belongs to those who can stop. To pause while others rush. To wait while others panic. To observe while others react. The first step toward real power is not acceleration. It is withdrawal from unnecessary pursuit. Not quitting life. Not abandoning ambition. But refusing to be dragged. The moment you recognize what you are chasing, and why, you create distance between impulse and action. And in that distance, control is born. This is the foundation. Before stillness becomes strength. Before silence becomes authority. Before attraction replaces pursuit, you must see the trap clearly. Because the man who understands the game no longer needs to run inside it. Stillness has a reputation problem. In a world that worships speed, stillness is mistaken for hesitation. For laziness. For fear. But this misunderstanding is exactly why stillness is powerful. Weakness is not stillness. Weakness is compulsion. The man who must always speak is weak. The man who must always move is weak. The man who must always prove himself is weak. Because he is not choosing, he is obeying an internal pressure he does not control. Stillness is the opposite. Stillness is restraint. And restraint is strength under discipline. Think of the difference between chaos and command. Chaos moves endlessly but achieves little. Command moves rarely, but decisively. A still man does not lack action. He lacks wasted action. He understands that every movement costs energy, every word reveals position, every reaction gives leverage to someone else. So he waits. Not because he is unsure, but because he is precise. Stillness creates space. And space creates awareness. When you are still, you begin to notice what actually matters. What is noise? What is bait? What is manipulation? Most people never see these things because they are always in motion. Stillness sharpens perception. This is why those who remain calm in pressure dominate those who panic. This is why silence unsettles insecure people. This is why patience feels threatening in a frantic world. Because stillness exposes intention. When you stop moving, others reveal themselves. They rush. They overexplain. They act too soon. And you learn. Understand this clearly. Stillness is not retreat. It is positioning. It is choosing the high ground while others fight blindly in the valley. This is why the strongest predators rest more than they hunt. This is why the most dangerous minds speak last. This is why true authority does not announce itself. Stillness conserves force. And conserved force, applied at the right moment, is unstoppable. If Chapter 1 was about seeing the trap, Chapter 2 is about reframing the weapon. Stillness is not something you fall into. It is something you cultivate. And once you do, you stop being pushed by the world, and start moving it. A still man is unsettling. Not because he is aggressive. Not because he is loud. But because he is unreadable. The world is built on prediction. Systems run on patterns. Power structures depend on knowing how people will react. Fear, anger, desire, urgency. These are the levers. When you react quickly, you become easy to steer. When you speak impulsively, you reveal position. When you chase emotionally, you surrender leverage. A still man does none of this. He does not rush to fill silence. He does not rush to defend himself. He does not rush to signal virtue, outrage, or approval. And because he does not rush, he cannot be easily categorized. This is why stillness creates discomfort. People trust what they can predict. They fear what they cannot read. A man who remains calm under pressure forces others to expose themselves. They overreact. They overcommit. They reveal motives. And the still man simply observes. Modern systems do not benefit from this type of person. They need speed. They need outrage. They need constant emotional output. Attention is harvested. Reactions are monetized. Impulses are exploited. Stillness interrupts the flow. When you do not engage immediately, you deny the system its fuel. No outrage. No panic. No predictable response. And that is dangerous to those who depend on control. This is why silence is often misinterpreted as weakness. It is safer to label it that way. Because if people understood its power, they would stop broadcasting their thoughts, stop reacting on cue, stop chasing manufactured urgency. A still man cannot be rushed. A still man cannot be baited easily. A still man chooses when, and if, he moves. And that choice is everything. Power does not need to dominate the room. It only needs to remain unprovoked. This is the quiet advantage. While others exhaust themselves performing, the still man accumulates clarity. While others reveal everything, he reveals nothing. And in a world that profits from exposure, restraint becomes rebellion. Stillness is not loud enough to be celebrated. But it is too powerful to be ignored. That is why the world fears still men. Chasing is not caused by the world. It is caused by what happens when the world goes quiet. Most people are not afraid of effort. They are afraid of stillness. Because stillness removes distraction. And when distraction disappears, the mind is exposed. Unresolved thoughts rise. Doubts surface. Insecurities speak. This is the inner noise, the constant mental chatter that demands movement, stimulation, escape. So people chase. They scroll. They talk. They consume. They stay busy. Not because it is necessary, but because silence feels threatening. Stillness forces confrontation. It asks questions most people avoid. What am I running from? Why do I need constant input? What am I afraid to face alone? Chasing becomes a coping mechanism. As long as there is motion, there is no need for self-examination. But the cost is high. The mind that is never quiet never becomes sharp. The emotions that are never observed never come under control. This is why constant stimulation weakens discipline. Impulse replaces intention. Reaction replaces choice. Urgency replaces judgment. Stillness interrupts this cycle. When you sit without reaching for distraction, the mind resists. It grows restless, uncomfortable, agitated. This resistance is not failure. It is withdrawal. You are depriving the mind of its addictions. And like any addiction, the noise gets louder before it fades. Most people quit here. They return to movement, return to chasing. But those who remain, those who endure the discomfort, discover something important. The noise is not endless. It burns itself out. And beneath it is clarity. Stillness is not peace at first. It is exposure. It reveals what you have been avoiding. And only by seeing it clearly can you begin to master it. This is why stillness requires courage. Not physical courage, but psychological discipline. To sit without escape. To listen without reacting. To observe without judgment. When you do, chasing loses its grip. Because once you can face your own mind, nothing outside of you can force movement. This is the turning point. Stillness is not just protection. It is leverage. When you are still, your mind stops broadcasting. No unnecessary words. No emotional leakage. No signals given away for free. This alone gives you an advantage most people never realize. Because in any interaction, personal, professional, or social, the one who reveals less controls more. Stillness forces others to move first. They speak to fill the silence. They explain to relieve discomfort. They act to regain control. And in doing so, they show you their priorities, fears, and intentions. Information flows towards stillness. This is why silence has always been associated with power. In negotiation, the one who pauses creates pressure. In conflict, the one who remains calm dictates tempo. In chaos, the one who does not react sees the full picture. Stillness sharpens perception. When you are not rushing to respond, your attention widens. You notice tone, timing, contradictions, patterns. Others miss these things because they are too busy preparing their next reaction. Stillness slows the world down. Not physically, but perceptually. Moments stretch. Details emerge. Choices become visible. This is where strategy is born. Understand this clearly. Stillness is not indecision. It is delayed action with intent. It allows you to act once, instead of correcting mistakes repeatedly. Every impulsive reaction costs energy. Every rushed decision creates friction. Stillness eliminates waste. It conserves mental force until the exact moment it is needed. And when that moment arrives, the action is clean, precise, final. This is why disciplined minds appear effortless. You are not seeing inactivity. You are seeing containment. Stillness is the chamber. Action is the release. Without stillness, power fires wildly. With it, power strikes exactly where intended. This is the weapon. Not loud. Not flashy. But devastatingly effective. There is a shift that happens when you stop chasing. At first, it feels unnatural. Almost dangerous. Because you have been conditioned to believe that if you are not pursuing, you are falling behind. But then something changes. Your energy stabilizes. Your movements slow. Your decisions sharpen. And life responds differently. When you are no longer desperate for outcomes, you stop broadcasting need. And need repels. Stillness removes that signal. You begin to choose instead of pursue. To evaluate instead of beg. To observe instead of push. This changes how people experience you. You speak less, but with weight. You move less, but with purpose. You act less, but with impact. Others feel this. They sense composure. They sense boundaries. They sense that you are not easily pulled. And unconsciously, they adjust. Opportunities approach those who are not grasping. Not because the world is generous, but because grounded presence creates trust. People trust stability. They follow certainty. They respect those who are not chasing approval. This is not passivity. It is selectivity. Letting life come to you does not mean refusing action. It means refusing forced action. You no longer move to prove worth. You move when alignment is clear. This is where timing becomes an ally. When you are still, you feel when a moment is right. You sense momentum instead of guessing. You recognize openings instead of forcing them. And because you are not rushing, you rarely miss. Most people are too busy chasing to notice what is already within reach. Stillness brings it into focus. Life does not reward frantic movement. It rewards accurate movement. And accuracy comes from patience. When you stop chasing, you stop colliding with life. You begin to meet it, on your terms. Most chasing is not ambition. It is unmanaged desire. The urge to have more. To feel more. To experience now what should be earned later. Desire itself is not the enemy. Lack of control is. When desire leads, discipline follows, if at all. This is why people sabotage long-term goals for short-term relief. They know what they should do. They simply cannot sit with the urge not to. Stillness trains this capacity. When you pause instead of obeying desire, you create a gap. And in that gap, authority returns. You begin to see desire as a signal, not a command. It rises. It speaks. but it does not decide. This is the foundation of self-mastery. A man who cannot delay gratification will always be delayed by life. Because life rewards patience, structure, and restraint. Stillness strengthens this muscle. Each time you resist unnecessary movement, each time you delay an impulse, each time you choose not to react, you reinforce command over self. This is quiet training. No applause. No recognition. But its effects are cumulative. Desire becomes refined. Less scattered. More intentional. You stop wanting everything. You start wanting what matters. And when desire is focused, action becomes powerful. The disciplined man does not kill desire. He directs it. He understands that uncontrolled desire creates chaos. Controlled desire creates momentum. This is why stillness is essential. It gives desire nowhere to run. It forces it to wait. And whatever can wait can be shaped. When you control desire, you control direction. And when you control direction, you control destiny. There is a subtle, but critical, difference between action and reaction. Reaction is fast. It is instinctive. It is fueled by emotion, urgency, and external pressure. Reaction is noisy, predictable, and often costly. Action, on the other hand, is deliberate. It is measured. It is chosen. It occurs after observation, after calculation, after silence. Action carries weight because it is not wasteful. Most people live in reaction. They respond to every notification, every insult, every temptation. Their lives are dictated by what others do or what circumstances demand. They move constantly, yet they rarely arrive anywhere meaningful. Stillness introduces a pause, a space between stimulus and response. That pause is the difference between being a puppet of circumstance and the master of your own movement. Imagine a raging river. If you jump in and fight the current impulsively, you are carried away. You exhaust yourself. You lose control. You end up downstream, wherever the river wants you to be. But if you pause, assess the flow, and choose the right moment to move, you cross safely and arrive exactly where you intended. Every decision in life works the same way. The pause created by stillness allows you to see patterns. It allows you to anticipate consequences. It allows you to act once, and act decisively. While others stumble from one reaction to the next, you execute with precision. This is why power appears effortless. Not because there is no effort, but because effort is applied only where it counts. No wasted energy. No unnecessary words. No impulsive movement that reveals position or intention. Observe the world. Those who constantly react rarely succeed in any meaningful sense. They are visible, predictable, and expendable. The person who waits, who chooses when to engage, becomes invisible until the moment their influence is unavoidable. Stillness is training. It teaches you to act with intent, to speak with purpose, and to move only when victory is certain. Reaction is chaos. Action is strategy. Master the pause, and you master both your mind and your environment. Without stillness, every choice becomes a compromise. With it, every choice becomes a weapon. The men who understand this never chase. They wait. They observe. They decide. And when they move, nothing can stop them. This is the power of deliberate action. The kind of power that leaves others exhausted, confused, and unable to respond. Stillness is not a gift. It is a skill. A discipline that must be trained every day. The mind is like a muscle. Left idle, it atrophies. Constantly pulled by impulses, it grows weak and chaotic. But with deliberate practice, it strengthens, sharpens, and becomes unshakable. Building stillness begins with small acts. Sitting alone without your phone. Observing without commenting. Speaking only when necessary. Pausing before acting, even in minor situations. Delaying gratification, intentionally and consistently. These are simple exercises, but their effect compounds. Every moment you resist unnecessary motion, every impulse you defer, you reclaim authority over yourself. Stillness is not comfortable at first. The mind resists. It creates distractions, discomfort, even anxiety. This is natural. The more chaotic your internal world, the louder the resistance. Most people quit here. They return to busyness, noise, and distraction. But the one who persists gains something extraordinary: clarity under pressure. With daily training, stillness becomes your default state. Not because life has slowed down, but because your mind no longer reacts to it unnecessarily. You learn to distinguish the urgent from the important. You conserve energy. You observe patterns others overlook. You respond with precision. You act with intention. Stillness becomes a lens through which you view the world. Chaos no longer dictates your actions. External pressures no longer manipulate your decisions. You move with deliberate purpose, always in alignment with your highest priorities. This is how mental force is accumulated. Not in frantic effort. Not in constant output. But in controlled presence, in deliberate restraint, in consistent practice. The man who trains stillness daily is the man who walks through the world unshakable, untouchable, and unseen until he chooses to appear. This is the quiet power few ever understand. And the rewards are invisible to those still trapped in reaction, calm under pressure, clarity under chaos, and freedom from the constant pull of external influence. Stillness is not easy, but mastery of it is the foundation of all true power. The man who stops chasing does not withdraw from life. He does not escape responsibility, ambition, or opportunity. Instead, he chooses when, where, and how to engage. He moves with purpose, speaks with weight, and acts only when the moment demands precision. Others rush. He waits. Others react. He decides. Others expose their position in haste. He remains unreadable. This is the distinction between power and busyness. Between authority and chaos. Between a life spent reacting and a life spent commanding. The man who no longer chases has learned the language of timing. He knows that every word spoken carries energy. Every action taken leaves a trace. Every reaction surrendered is a loss of leverage. Stillness is not passivity. It is strategy. It is positioning. It is the quiet accumulation of influence and authority until the exact moment it is required. He is patient, not weak. He is deliberate, not hesitant. He is confident, not loud. In a world addicted to movement, noise, and reaction, this man becomes unpredictable and unstoppable. He does not need approval. He does not need validation. He does not need to chase. Because he has mastered himself. And mastery of self is the highest form of power. Everything else, the chaos, the noise, the distractions, become irrelevant. He moves only when it matters. He speaks only when it counts. And when he acts, the world must adjust. This is the ultimate freedom. The ultimate strength. The ultimate authority. The man who stops chasing no longer lives at the mercy of circumstance. He shapes it. He directs it. He decides it. And in doing so, he achieves what few ever will. True power born from stillness. Stillness is not absence. It is presence sharpened. It is attention concentrated. It is control over the currents that move everyone else. If this message resonated, do not rush past it. Sit with it. Observe yourself. Ask where you are chasing, and why. True mastery begins there. If you want more content that strengthens discipline, mental clarity, and self-mastery, subscribe to the channel. Not for motivation. Not for hype. But for clarity, authority, and conscious power. Because when you stop chasing, you stop being controlled. And that is where true power begins.